recording.
4. We're live.
You're now watching two old farts making noises.
Joe, do you want to know why some businesses succeed and some businesses fail? Why some businesses grow and some businesses don't? That's what this show is all about. Business, business, business.
All right, we are back
with various members and guests. Really,
Yeah.
I don't have a membership card,
Covers
so
the
am I a
whole-
guest? Yeah, what happened to that? Like, you get little cards.
You have to bring your member with you when you come. That's what.
Oh, okay.
Oh, God.
Oh, see,
We
that
are
kind of show right off the bat.
Isn't
Yeah,
this the
remember
Batman
the-
show?
Remember the member. Remember the member. That's what I say.
There you go. All right.
So we-
Well, we've got some great topics today. David really
Thank you.
hooked us up with some good articles
And his member too. So there you go.
and his member.
Yeah. Well, the first thing was actually, Michael, that it contradicted your found last week.
I know that was so that might be a lost dollar for today. We'll get to that.
Yes, we're gonna talk about the LD 9600 because they're saying I don't think so. So,
Yeah, right. Well, there's skeptics out there, and science is meant to be explored. So we'll see. But
right.
fall and rise in
So what do
of crypto. So a big fall. You know, you gave us the article of that Argentinian murder of Fernando Algaba, the crypto millionaire. And we should also cover. We'll also get into after our talk on the fall and rise of crypto. Is there another rise of crypto with Worldcoin? Not sure. Let's see. And then we'll talk about China's microchip war, and also China and Taiwan's suspicion of Elon Musk and his Starlink. So we'll get to those. One of our favorite topics, China. We'll get to that after our first favorite topic, crypto.
That just set John off.
Get the freedom and the flexibility of remote work in the lucrative tech industry. Bend your life around the world. Bandicoot is the premier course and community for thriving in a remote tech career. Join the revolution today. Bandicoot.com, official partner of the Lost Dollar Business Club.
Before we start, I will say that I was at the live event for Bandicoot, and
Steven was there.
I was there in our YouTube channel for people that are interested. If you go under live, under the topics, you can see the 20 minutes. Michael gave a nice speech. I think I nodded off. No, I gave a very nice speech, and also they played their video. Bandicoot is live now, and next week we'll have some discount codes. We'll have some discount codes for all the listeners of Lost Dollar Business Club. Or if you're an HR department and you want to use this for some of your people, you can reach out to us here at Two Old Farts or TOF Entertainment, and we'll put you in touch with Michael, and you guys can work that through. So there you go.
That's great. Yeah, thank you for being there, Stephen. The live show was great.
Yeah.
Multiple angles there. That was really good.
We had a good time. And it was cool because we let all three just run at the same time.
Yeah.
Because it was very cool to get people's reaction and stuff. And then Nusha, of course, was showing me the food on one, which I zoomed in on that because that was the most important thing to me.
That's right.
So that was really good. But enough about that. Let's talk about this fakakta crazy crypto algorithm make-believe crap.
What I want to know is,
Yes.
John, are you missing a suitcase? That's what I want.
Because the crypto millionaire was found in a suitcase. That's part of it. Part of him was
alleged millionaire.
Alleged
millionaire.
Yeah,
that's right.
Alleged
millionaire.
He had some debt in it. Yeah, so I don't know how.
I don't think he died because he was a crypto guy. I think he died because of other reasons. I'm just saying. I don't think that has anything to do with him being killed. But crypto in general, I think
like a big crypto guy in Argentina. I mean, do you think that he was running some Ponzi scheme or something, and they caught up with him?
Probably.
Well, he apparently even admitted that it was a failed crypto business and it got out of hand, which that can mean a lot of things in the crypto world.
Well, he got out of his own hands, didn't he? And
he didn't live in Argentina for a while. He was living in Miami and then in Barcelona. So I don't know why he ended up going to Argentina, but yeah, back to Argentina.
To meet
Who
somebody.
knows?
That's part of the problem. We don't really.
Who knows? You know, I mean,
Well, it's a risky business, but it shows it's a risky business.
Yeah.
If you're running a scam, it catches up.
Yeah, that's true. Look at Bernie Madoff and all those other guys. All right, so listen, let's talk about the really fun one. Let's talk about this Worldcoin, which is such a cocked up bunch of crap I've never heard in my entire life.
It's so interesting.
Is that your opinion, Stephen, or are you just you know?
So, it's not my opinion.
It's always
you were very to the point straight away. You know,
that's because
it's not worth discussing.
I no. I didn't say it wasn't worth discussing.
Just tell people, disgusting. Yeah, well, tell people what it is first. Tell people what it is. They don't.
So what Worldcoin? It's worldcoin.org. It's an interesting concept. I will say that. But what they want to do is and they've been around 3 or 4 years. This isn't like a new thing, right? But Sam Altman now thinks this is the greatest thing, and he has one success, but now he has one success, and all of a sudden he's like, let's go do this. It's like, Sammy, sit on the side and keep your mouth quiet right now. Go play with AI. But what Worldcoin is that they have a sphere, and it takes a picture of your retina, and by that's how you deposit, get your coins. And what they'll do is they're going to put these little spheres all over the world. And they were going to do this 3 years ago, and I guess they still haven't done it. But they were going to put these spheres all over the world, and what you do is you register with your eye, and then you get just say 100 coins, and then you can buy or sell that way. And I was like, that's interesting, but once again, you're not a bank. You're not a government, and your coin is worth nothing. Like if tomorrow, and I wish no ill against Sam, but if Sam gets hit by a bus, and everyone's going to do Worldcoin now because of Sam, then people are like, oh, he's dead. That's no good, right? You know what I mean? So it's not like it's really back. I'm not saying I'm not really saying that any of the government currencies are backed. It's just the good faith of the government. You trust they're going to pay, yada yada.
Yeah, but there's a little bit more solidness behind a government backing a currency than a random.
Than Sam Altman, right? And we found that out with FTX.
I don't understand that. Why would I have to have my What's the background of having my eye scanned?
Security. So this way, no one can ever steal your coin.
So is that only going to be then in the West? Or not going to
be
in Africa, for instance?
No. They're going to put them all over Africa,
Russia.
Did it.
They started in Europe, in Spain, with 2 million users.
Yeah.
So they did this for 2 million people already, and that's why they're getting so much traction and attention. Is because the beta project seemed to work, but because 2 million people trusted it. But are people really going to trust this thing?
Yeah, but 2 billion people go out of. Right.
I was going to say I don't want to get into conspiracy theories or anything, but the idea of having so much of my personal information so granular in a system that actually technically has no financial basis or actual foundation. It says to me that my information is worth more than that currency.
Correct.
So what the heck are you going to do with my information?
It says to me your eye is worth more than that information.
Well,
having their eyes gouged out and all sorts of.
I can move homes. I can't move my eyes. You know what I mean?
That's right. That's right.
I just think I just don't get it. And I mean, Coinbase made an announcement today that they're not leaving the United States. And I'm thinking, if the SEC and the government tells you to get the F out, you're getting out, pal. You can fight all you want. But, like every crypto exchange, every currency, algorithm is having an issue. And I think until it becomes a security, which is really what it is, now it's an unregulated security, until it becomes a security, I think maybe it'll gain some traction. Most VCs, there was an article in the FT, I think we talked about this 2 or 3 weeks ago, are pulling out of all their crypto investments.
Yeah.
Like they're done. So like I said, I'm glad Sam is doing something other than AI. Not really. I wish he would just keep working on the AI stuff.
Should focus on AI. I mean, that's a big project.
Right. But my point is, though.
Well, he doesn't have to, does he? He sold everything out to Microchip.
Right. But now he wants to do this, and I don't see where this is a benefit to anybody.
No.
The central banks are not going to let an algorithm take over what they do. And so it doesn't make any sense to me why we keep going down this path.
This is also a government activity to scan your biometrics and then store it at a private company. This is it's a one-time thing. And what happens to the data if Worldcoin gets hacked, which they already had a vulnerability where someone could operate their orb illicitly and without being registered. So scanning people's retinas unregistered.
I'm not a fan. Not a fan of this Worldcoin yet.
I was going to say, John, you're very quiet. We know how much you love the cryptos. You're very quiet on this one.
He's upset because his friend was found in a suitcase.
It's just another, it's just another piece of software, trying to extract money out of people. I don't know what is it? Is it a replacement for Bitcoin? But
no, it's like all the other coins, John. It's just hey, we're better than. Here's the analogy. Hey, here's a Ford, here's a Chevy, and here's a Porsche. We're better. One's better than the next, and the next to the next. So Worldcoin's saying, listen, we're the, if you will, the Porsche or Ferrari of the digital world because we have this. And 6 months to a year, another billionaire that's bored, has nothing better to do with his time, will come out with a coin that does something else, and we're better than Worldcoin, right? So it's just all about, and you'll have to, hide the kids, but it's like, who has the biggest dick? Who cares? It's like we have currencies, we have governments. I know nobody trusts the governments, nobody likes the currencies, but you're not going to replace it. I mean, it's great that all these supercar dealerships say, we take Bitcoin. Good for you. But at the end of the day, like I have a buddy who owns a dealership, and I say, what do 90% of everybody says 99% of the people pay cash, if you will, a check, a bank, whatever. He says 0.0001 are paid with crypto. I'm like, okay. So really, I don't see the benefit. And then maybe 100 years from now, I'll be proven wrong. But really, what's the benefit? Nobody has explained to me why I would want to not have a dollar, a pound, a euro.
And why, I mean, it's tricky because it's not like cash or the banking system. I mean, you have to maintain ownership over the coins. And if you lose those codes, you're done. You lose the coin.
So I don't understand the benefit.
You've got your eyeball now to do it now.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, I got a problem with the eyeball.
Yeah, I do too. That's like a security thing. It's like just take their eye out and you plug it in.
Yeah, right.
It's the same thing, right?
Said,
we've all seen those.
That's
movies,
way too much, too specific. Easy to.
I mean, it's like to chop your fingers off.
Easy to steal.
Well, I don't want to see a suitcase rolling down the river with a shitload of eyeballs.
Right? I just once again, and nothing, Mr. Altman. I would love for you to come on the show and tell me how stupid I am.
Yeah.
I'm good with that. You can come on and tell me what an idiot I am, and I'm okay with it. But I really don't understand the benefit of Worldcoin to a government or a sovereign wealth currency, if you will, or fiat. I don't understand that benefit. So if you want to come on and explain to us, unlike Fox, we're not going to yell at you. We may make fun of you. You can make fun of us, but I don't understand the benefit of Worldcoin to the world. I don't get it. So you really need to come on and tell us because we have no clue.
Yeah.
And I mean, it brings up the whole biometrics issue, which we can touch on briefly. I mean, I think Kurt probably has some ideas on this idea of using biometrics and having it as widespread use for identifying you, which, I mean, I feel like is a very risky gambit.
Yeah,
and that's a government. If it's
you have to have a member to get into this club. So
you do have verified by you.
You got to have a verified member. So
there you go.
Well,
there you go.
Sorry,
Michael.
It's just so easy to violate this type of technology because everything is so new. We're basically we're trading in rabbit skins and beaver pelts at this point again, right? Every time a new currency comes up, it's we're going to rabbits. You know what I mean? But the thing that's attached to this every single time is either a number that connects me or it's my eyeballs that connect me. Soon it's going to be my blood that connects me. I mean, come on. At what point are we going to have so much information in all these different streams that one hack, game over? Right?
Yeah,
that's the issue.
Yeah.
You put all this technology in one.
Or several hacks are in a suitcase. But there you
go.
Yeah.
You've hit a new height. You've hit a new height.
And let's just assume Sam Altman will never see this because he's never heard of us, and the only reason we know who you are is because you sold something to Microsoft. Other than that, we would have never known you. But if you're a crypto expert, for lack of a better term, and you want to come on the show, because Sam won't, I would love that. I would love someone to explain to me. And I've read all the books, I've read all the stuff. I've not, and no one has explained a benefit of crypto other than it keeps things secret. If you want to keep things secret from the government, there's ways to do that, and it's legal. But I don't understand this crypto. What the big thing is? It's like, you know what I mean? It's like when the investment banks got into it, they get rich.
Probably because you're not selling drugs or doing something illicit where you can move your money.
But I would love someone to come on and tell me why this crypto still is supposed to. It didn't revolutionize anything. Worldcoin, I think, in my opinion, is a waste. Unless someone can tell me different and show me why there's a benefit. But I like I said, I would love for someone from the crypto industry to come on and tell us.
Oh, we've got
someone's come on.
Apparently.
Yeah. How are you?
That's our come on music, apparently. So anyway, that's all I've got on that. So.
Yeah, that was Sam. I just
all right. Are we going to talk about China next?
Yeah, let's talk about the microchip war. Do people even know about the new semiconductor war that's really been going on since Trump era against China, which is putting export controls on microchips to China. Specifically, Huawei was the first one that they limited, and putting Chinese companies on blacklists. I don't know. I don't think many people.
Now, can we say that? Can we say blacklist, or we have to say lists of color?
Oh boy!
So I'm just saying, I'm not being smart. I don't really give a shit. So Kurt knows me well enough that I really don't give a what. It's a blacklist. It's a blacklist. Like we're not that that politically correct. Yeah, right. I just being a smart ass.
He is.
It's a bit like being blackballed. I mean, that actually was a function because there were actually black balls in the bag.
Yeah,
when people voted. So you had white balls and black ball, and if you were. If you had too many black balls when you're in this vote,
you're out.
This secret vote, you're out. So
unless you're Justin Trudeau, then it's blackface, in which case it is offensive. But anyway, that's another
yeah.
But so I have a question on that. Wait. Before we go down the rabbit hole, and I have no problem with it. When Al Jolson did it with the first talkie, right? It wasn't offensive. It was considered art. And we had a discussion the other day with Connor Akers on an interview that's going to come out in a couple of weeks about what's considered pornography, what's considered offensive, and what's considered art. So it's offensive, if you will, today, but when they did it, it wasn't considered offensive. So, this cancer culture of pussies, you've got to be, and not you, Kurt, because I know you're just making that statement, but you have to be really careful when we say, it's offensive in 2023. Like owning a slave would be offensive in 2023. 500 years ago, everybody did it. Right. And I'm not saying it was right, but even the blackface 100 years ago when Al Jolson did it, it was considered art. So it's very, I don't listen, I'm not all for it. Not being a person of color, I have no clue. I get enough Jewish jokes. So, and I'm at the point where nothing offends me anymore, but it's just one of those things where we go, it's offensive. I'm like, seriously, is it really? I don't know. What do I know? I'm just a Jew from New York. Anyway, I digress. I'm going to go back to sleep now.
Well,
let's talk about the Chinese.
Yeah. Well,
so we just got the Chinese bashing now. That's not offensive at all.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, the reality is China's fighting back. They're now limiting raw materials that are used in microprocessors and used
like all the stuff
in solar panels, the basic materials.
Nobody seems to care. Everybody in Europe says, "Oh, we'll find it somewhere else then."
So is that what you're hearing over there?
Yeah, they're saying, "Okay, that's fine." They're not the only. I think Canada's got a whole load of stuff.
It's in
so does Bolivia. They all have it.
So there's loads of stuff, and they're now trying to say to everybody. Really interesting this morning, guys saying, "Well, we've found it all on the bottom of the ocean, and the plus side about that is that where we're going to dig it out from, there isn't any greenery or trees, so that's great. So we're not going to deforest anything, and there's no child labor down there either. So."
Well, who operates the submarines?
Apparently not children operate the submarines.
A lot of hoo-ha. I think the Chinese got a bit
Well, I mean, it
just had
creates
something to bitch about, but
no, that's a fair response to it, and that's probably the smart response to it as well. We'll just find another way to get it, because it's actually not that. These two particular ones, gallium and germanium, they're not very rare, and they're not actually. They don't actually own the market. I mean, they're maybe China.
No, but they were very good at byproducts, and I think they were very, very good at getting them onto the market quick.
Right.
So I think it's and as we're now becoming unglobal, then the Chinese can just keep all their stuff, and the West or all the other countries that don't want to trade so much with China will do it somewhere else.
Well, isn't it funny that this has become so political when in fact we live in a global world where free economies are supposed to exist and free trade, right? Well, they're just finding it from somewhere else. That's just healthy economy, healthy trade.
Right.
Yeah.
What's the big deal?
Yeah.
Well, that was the whole point, right? The free trade is under, if you're under this, playing by the same rules, and of course, certain countries like China were not.
Yes.
So.
A shocker. Like you said, the Michael Collins that day. Like, this is what once again, read a history book. I mean, if you can read, I know there's a generation that doesn't know how to read because you got everything from TikTok. But read a history book.
They're watching this. They learn everything on this show, Stephen. They don't.
I know, and I'm shocked that people don't like. I don't know why this is not a university class. Anyway, read a book. China is China. I mean, and every country does it. It's just that China is very upfront about it. It's like they don't even try to hide that they're not going to follow anything. They're just like, nope, we're not going to do that. They'll sign whatever treaty, sign the agreement. Then they're like, yeah, screw you. We're going to do what we want. They're just blunt about it. And what's funny is the United States is too, but we hide it. When we do something we're not supposed to, we just hide it. We sweep it under the carpet. Right. And then somebody brings it out. But that's my point. So it's like, screw you.
Yeah.
The amount of stuff Americans have put under the carpet that you can have a whole new mountain range somewhere. You guys are always shoveling stuff underneath it.
Well, it's all coming out with they're all admitting it now. So.
Oh yeah, the UFOs.
Well,
UFOs.
I'll admit it. I'll admit it.
Yeah, you'll admit it. Yeah. But yeah, I mean that kind of blends into even this relationship with China and Elon Musk. Right. Because he's got Starlink, and now he's got 4,800 satellites, and he wants to go to 42,000 Starlink satellites in the sky.
Before you go any further, tell everybody what Starlink is, because I'm going to assume that there's a percentage of population that does not have a clue of what we're talking about.
That's right.
Those things you hold in your hand, and like at parties and stuff.
At the parties, it's at the parties you go to, David. Yeah.
Yeah.
Light up.
But
it's true.
I used to go to parties.
Oh,
my God.
Low
Earth. I have to put up with this daily. You guys don't have to put up with it an hour a week. Go ahead.
But Starlink is
tomato.
It's a group of satellites, low Earth orbit satellites that Musk has put up there. And the reason why they're so effective is because they're lower they're closer to the Earth. The satellite speeds are much faster than other satellite technologies. And so because to have that kind of coverage, you have to have so many satellites, such a high number of them, because they're so much closer. That makes it for one of the most prolific satellite organizations on the planet now. And
do you think he watched a lot of Terminator movies when he was a teenager? Do you think that's what it is?
Right, exactly. I mean, it's funny that he calls it that. So, and he's been using it in Ukraine, but to mixed reception, because, not to make a pun, but he actually had the Ukrainians. He offered to use Starlink in the Ukrainian war, but then didn't allow them to use it in Crimea. And then actually sent the bill to the United States government. So it was a complicated thing, and that's part of why
he needs the money. He just bought he bought Twitter or X or whatever it is today. So he needed the money for that.
Yeah, maybe.
And it cost a lot of money to put all those satellites up. You can actually see them as well. Occasionally, you see them go over these links of
a line of them. Yeah. It's a little much, actually. People, there was a lot of controversy over it because it interferes with the night sky. Because it's pretty obvious if you're doing stargazing.
Well, it doesn't any other country in the world apart from Holland, because we have greenhouses that do that. But because we don't have a night sky here, it's permanently twilight.
Well, but then the other issue is Starlink could be used. So Taiwan doesn't like Starlink because they don't trust Musk, because Musk is so close to China.
Right.
And as you know, he went to China just I think a few months ago, and was hailed as a hero by many heads of state. And then China, though, doesn't trust Starlink because they don't want anyone to circumvent the Great Chinese Firewall. Mm-hmm. So it's just interesting to think that there are all these intricate relationships with this one country, and coming under interface with someone like Elon Musk.
I just think, once again, I find it fascinating that these billionaires don't have anything better to do with their time. I mean,
well, he's hustling for business.
So much more. They could do so much more for the benefit of humanity. Yes, that's.
But I don't see where Starlink to me is like a crypto algorithm. It doesn't benefit humanity. It benefits Elon because Elon will make money from it, which is nice. But now you're going to have countries going, but why would I trust you over this? That's why countries have launched satellites, because they don't trust each other. They don't want one person to have it.
Well, so Taiwan thinks that China actually cut one of their underwater internet cables. That's a rumor out there. So,
but I mean, just in general,
that's the
though,
big
it's
thing
like
here as well. Certainly in Holland and the Belgians. I mean, the Dutch have been quite complacent about it. The Belgians were slightly more concerned that the Russians could just come along tomorrow morning and cut the cables, and there were. And then that's the end of my internet connection.
We might be better off without
it.
I know it's horrible. It'll be the second time this week.
But they cut the cables, yes. But no, I don't see where, it's like, it's great that you think you're Tony Stark, but you're not. Okay? So enough. I mean, and if you really want to do something to help society, and I can't believe I'm going to say any of this, but let's just go with it. Let's feed the people that need to be fed. Let's get rid of poverty. Let's get housing for people. You want to spend your $1 trillion to show you have a big penis? Do that. We don't need any more satellites. You want to do satellite stuff? Be partnerships, whatever. And until the world comes together, it's not going to matter. We're all going to blow each other up at some point anyway. The lizard people are taking over. I mean, and we've already passed the 1.5 Celsius. There's no more global warming. We've already warmed the globe. At some point, the people from the center of the earth are going to come out and kill us, or the aliens are going to come eat us. Makes no difference. But you want to do something, actually help humanity. You've got more money than you can ever spend. I mean, granted, you bang little hot chicks and you married to them for 3 months and then you give them a couple $1 million. Just give them a couple $1 million like a sugar baby. Get it over with and do something. But like, you don't need 50,000-foot yachts. You don't need this. Like, enough. Like, I think the world is the point where people are just getting fed up. Now, in my case, of course, I'm not going to do any of that shit.
You have something on
my
your
yacht
chest
is almost done, and my super chest, and that's it. Huh?
What's that, John?
Is there something on your chest that you want to?
No, I'm just literally getting to a point. I think
he's covered in Musk. That's the trouble.
Yeah, I'm just getting tired of like, I read an article, even the Financial Times or the Economist or Reuters, and it's like, enough. Like,
well, one of those publications that's owned by a billionaire. You mean?
Yeah, they're all owned by billionaires.
Right, they're all
owned by billionaires.
We got Bill Gates, doing these some of the things that you're suggesting.
He's all right.
He's all right. And what?
He's harmless.
Who the hell are you? Trying to impose your view on the world. I say, go buy some boats. Do some.
Yeah, but unfortunately, John, he's part of the American dream, isn't he? So he's like, local boy makes good. And so therefore everybody in America feels that they have to suck certain parts of his anatomy.
Yeah, but that's why I like Steve Ballmer, because Steve Ballmer was local boy, did good, and he kept his mouth quiet. And what he did was he bought a basketball team. And what he does is he plays in sports. And you know what?
Oh, is
I'm
that
good
feeding
with
the
that.
poor then? And that's not feeding the
Yeah,
poor.
it is. It is feeding. It's feeding those poor kids that are playing basketball.
Feeding them with hamburgers.
Right. But my point is, though, if you're gonna, these guys go, we want to make the world a better place. Bomber didn't say that. Bomber bought a basketball team. Mark Cuban has never said he wants to make a world a better place. Mark goes, I want to make money, but Mark doesn't go do stupid shit. These other guys are like,
he actually does that. I mean, he's actually doing with Mark Cuban's pharma company. I mean, he's actually doing some very good efforts.
But that's kind of my point. These other guys, I think they're just trying to show they have a big, you know what? And I'm like, all right, I'm sorry you have a small penis.
It's not impressive.
Yeah, it's like nobody cares anymore. I mean, getting to a point
people
where
are starting to get, because I think people are finally understanding how much money a billionaire has compared to even 100 millionaire.
No, they don't. Nobody, we cannot imagine what that is.
No.
But all you can see is the same people that could potentially sit in the same room as you because they have X number of dollars, and then you start to get really uppity about, oh, he's probably got more expensive cufflinks than I have, or he's got more expensive shoelaces than I have, and it gets that's what pushes these people forward, not the big stuff. Big stuff's all gone for them. They've done all that.
Crazy because they could.
Yeah, but it's just like, oh, well, he comes in, he's another billionaire. It's not my money that I can impress him with.
We need a billionaire to come on this show and defend the billionaires.
Well, I'm on.
Yeah,
John,
we realized that, David.
I'm sorry, I forgot.
And John, of course. John's got lots of money.
He's got all that Nazi gold, so that's why he's quiet. He can't say anything because when he goes to the club tonight with his secret handshake, they'll be mad if he says anything. But no, I think it's great if you have billions of dollars. I'm okay with it, but it's just these guys are like. It's like I think it's great. You did it. I'm happy for you. I mean, how many yachts can you own that are 300 meters long? And how many of this and how many of that?
You have to dismantle. You have to dismantle a bridge.
Take a bridge to go put your yacht there, right? And listen.
Oh, that went down really well over here. I can tell you.
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. I don't know what's the issue with Starlink. I don't think it's such a bad project, but personally,
okay, but tell us why, John. Defend Elon.
Look,
tell us
there's
why.
a lot of places that don't have internet access, right? And the governments there are not putting any infrastructure. Private companies are not going, and so they're SOL, and so
sounds like parts of America actually.
Yeah, but how are you going to pay for it then? How are they going to pay for it, John?
It is very expensive right now.
Yeah, how am I going to pay if you live in the middle of nowhere? How are you going to pay for your internet through Starlink connection?
Let's just say there's some village, someplace that doesn't have any internet access, and they're like 500 people. They'll all chip in $1 a piece, and it's a what? It's 150 a month. Right now, I think.
I have no idea. I'm asking.
Yeah, it's about 150 a month in the U.S. I don't know if there's any other pricing in other parts of the world. So if you're in a village in some inaccessible place, there's a community. They'll have one community satellite, dish connecting to Starlink, and they'll have internet access.
I have a question, guys.
Yeah.
When does a person like Elon Musk, our big billionaires that everybody glorifies, when do they become a global security risk?
Now.
Seriously,
so in what way would you consider them to be a global?
Sounds like if he gets
if he gets his what he wants, and he's got his 42,000 satellites or whatever,
which is crazy,
which is insane. The power that yields beyond money. Screw that up. Guess what happens to global security, country to country?
Right. Hence why Taiwan doesn't want it because they're afraid of Musk. So unless you're neutral. Like if you're like me and you don't just give a flying F and you have something like that, then no one's going to be like, China, this one, that. Nobody cares, right? Praise me, don't praise me, I don't care. There's my satellite. He's on an ego ride, right? Ooh, I'm number one in China. Okay, congratulations, schmuck. But I mean, like if I'm the rest of the world, I don't want you controlling a satellite because if China says to you, listen, we're going to go to a war tomorrow, or we're going to do this tomorrow, there needs to be no internet connection over this part of the hemisphere and the planet. And you flick a switch for a few $1 billion because your buddies ask you, that's a bad thing. So I think anybody, even, they're doing this private space travel. I find it interesting. I don't know if that's a security risk yet, But at some point, all of this becomes a security risk because the power, and I'm not saying that it's good for a government to have it, but I mean, if you can control satellites, you can control a country. If you can colonize a planet, then you're your own government. Like if I just say I had $1 trillion and I'm like, guys, tomorrow we're all going to leave for Pluto and we have the technology to do it. And we go to Pluto. Now, two things are going to happen. One, the US government or any governments can't touch us, right? Because we're a billion trillion miles away because they don't have the technology I do. When I get there, now I'm colonizing a planet. So what government is controlling me? Nothing. It is the government of Steve. And the government of Steve is whatever we put in place on Pluto. Right. And that's it. So Musk going, I want to go to Mars. I want to go to Mars. If you just look beyond what he's really trying to do, he wants to colonize a planet. So he's like, oh, I'm the founding father. Privately colonize a planet. Go, look, it's the planet of Elon. And these are the laws. And I think that's what people are missing. It's like they want to go to the next step. And most people are not thinking that far. They're like, oh, that chilly kitty wants to go to Mars. No.
What does it really mean? Legal system?
It's no different between the year 0 and the year 1800 when the kings and queens and emperors would send their vessels out. And would send their vessels out. And they would go claim a land for their king or queen. Yeah. The king or queen now is the billionaire. The billionaires are sending their ships out to claim a planet, which is no different than what the billionaires back in the day, which were kings and queens and emperors, did to claim on this little planet. They claim their spots. And mark my words, we may not be alive, but in the next 500 years, that's what it's going to be. We want to claim planets. I'm a billionaire. I'm going to claim a planet. And that's where this is going.
Because my question is twofold, and it deals with one, right now, nobody's happy with their governments, right? There's all kinds of stuff going on that we're not happy with. But at least our focal point is on our government, our specific, what's going on in our country. But when you take somebody who is a private individual that is now claiming through power and might the same sway over technology, that to me is something that I think we need to be very cognizant of, because we're not ready as a society to deal with our own governments. I don't want to have to deal with a single guy who's now trying to do it right around the whole world.
I agree. I think the best thing to do at the moment is to start investing in a clothing company that sells brown shirts, because I think we're all going to need one.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Or you go to Argentina and look for the Nazi gold. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
And
that's what
Algaba was doing. It's on a train in Poland somewhere, and that's what I heard.
Stock prices on luggage is going up.
Yeah.
New York Jews took all the gold. What are you talking about?
I know, John. I have it. I'm just saying. I have to put the blame somewhere. Not everybody can know that I have the gold, John. I have to keep saying it's you guys in Argentina. No, we still have it. We didn't steal it. We just borrowed it for a while.
Yeah.
Me and the lizard people.
Looking out for a friend.
Yeah, looking for a friend of mine.
That was like the tagline of the Third Reich, wasn't it? Really, of the art department. We're looking after it for a friend.
Yeah. After we kill them, they won't get back. Let us, and I'll go to Lost and Found, I think. So and see what we have there, David.
Yeah, well, do we have any? Is everybody?
I got mine. I'm excited.
All the guns loaded?
He's mine already. Yeah,
I'm ready to go, baby. I do homework for this show. I'm ready. You want to run a little promo?
Okay. Well, it's going to be a great show. This one.
If you like the Lost Dollar Business Club, you should subscribe. If you like it that much, you should also tell a friend of yours. So you should subscribe and like. Also, you should put comments below so we know what you're thinking. Tell us what shows you want to hear. Just help us make it better.
So who's lost $1 this week? And who's found $1 this week?
This is going to be good.
Oh, boy.
I'll go first, just because.
That'll be a short thing then. There you go.
Wow. I feel the love. So here's the thing. In Reuters, I sent you guys this article. Reuters said that Tesla, Elon's communist company, has a secret group that tries to squelch any Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, whatever, anything bad said about Tesla's battery or car. They have a group that goes out and tries to kill the story, which I thought was fascinating. Wow. It's in Reuters. If you guys want to look it up, you can look it up, that people that are listening. So to me, that is definitely a lost dollar. And today it was announced that the Tesla owners are suing Tesla for the battery because I guess it's not getting the mileage and whatnot that it's supposed to get.
Well, I
So
said
Tesla
it's guaranteed
is not
guaranteed to get them to the end of the street. I think
that's it. Yeah. So Tesla, basically, cute idea, but I think now the truth is starting to come out. So that's a lost dollar.
Censorship is
for
all.
them.
Yeah, that's a lost dollar.
That's
But
a lost dollar.
the rage. Kurt, that's exactly what Kurt was talking about.
Yep.
You know, this kind of.
Who's next? John, you haven't said anything all day. Let's see what you got. This will be good.
Well,
He's lost a
okay,
suitcase.
so it's I don't know. It's a big dollar. I don't know if it's a dollar loss, but in Canada, Canada is prosecuting, convicted a priest, Arthur Pulowski or something like his Polish name.
Good with that name, pal.
Because talk about a police state. It's already a police state, Canada, with some of its laws. He just for preaching the Bible and supporting the truckers during the the COVID issue. This guy can go to prison for 10 years. It just blew my mind that.
Wow.
I don't think he's. I know maybe Kurt has a different opinion, but might expand on that. But I don't think this guy is such a big risk that he needs to go to prison. And second, there's the laws that enabled his prosecution just blew my mind. I think that's a huge loss. Kurt,
I don't disagree entirely with the whole police state thing. I think that whatever the heck the government was doing, they came in late and were reactionary. And now that's just the knock-on effect is things like this that don't make sense, right? And the country's not happy, right? Is this guy a threat worth 10 years? No, definitely not. But the problem is, it's fairly deep, it's fairly broad. Will anything come of it? That's up for debate. But it's not something that to me makes any sense and nothing that I would be happy with.
Wow.
Okay. And on that note, what's your lost and found?
Well, so you guys said it before, and David found the article that there was. So last week's found dollar for me was the room temperature superconductor, which was announced by a couple South Korean research papers. But now there's a lot of skepticism because people tried to make it, and it didn't quite work as planned yet. So there's a lot of now that's a lost dollar. They call it it's not yet verified. And apparently this happens a lot in superconductor research, so much so that they call it a USO, which is an unidentified superconducting object.
Yep.
So apparently this is common in superconductor research. We shall see if it actually plays out.
Kurt, what do you have for us?
This is a little bit left field. It's from a company called CRDL. They basically what they've done is they made a wooden object. It's basically a shape that is it creates through touch. It creates music and vibrations, and it's actually meant for people who have things like dementia, autism, mental disabilities, and physical impairments as a form of therapy. And it's just a very, very, it's a beautiful form that people just, you can just touch, and multiple people can touch it. And it's just creates, an environment that helps them, basically.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, this group definitely needs that. So, all right. And just so you know, that was not out of left field, because out of left field is coming up. So let us buckle in for what Mr. Dave is going to give us. There you go. All right, Mr. David, what are you going to talk about this week? I can't wait.
Two things. I don't normally do two things, but two things. One is, I'll get on to the most important one in a moment, but the first one I found this week is that I don't know if anybody knows about the history of vanilla. It's incredibly difficult to grow. Mm-hmm. It grows predominantly, I think, on Mauritius, where it's so valuable, this stuff, that they actually have it in guarded compounds with armed, guards outside, because there's so much value to it. And it's incredibly difficult to grow. And now somewhere in Holland, in a place unnamed, they've actually now, for the first time, been able to produce good volumes of vanilla. And he's already got 70,000 top restaurants in the world which have said, yeah, we'll be customers tomorrow, because it's worth literally almost the price of gold, this stuff. So yeah. And what he's going to grow this week will make him into a multi-millionaire. So that was for me most definitely a found dollar.
Okay.
More vanilla. Let's do it.
Yeah, more vanilla, real vanilla, because it's. I was absolutely shocked. If you look into vanilla and what it's worth and how difficult it is, it's amazing. It's truly amazing.
All right.
Yeah, 2 ounce little bottle costs like $15.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. If you
Instead
buy
of that song, pour some sugar on me, you should pour some vanilla on me. I like it. So.
Yeah, well, actually, the vanilla sticks themselves are worth a considerable amount of money.
Cool.
So anyway, but that was okay. That didn't sort
there's
of.
Another one, isn't there? There's another one coming.
There is another one,
Yeah,
and this is called. This is a Dutch company called Beermate.
Who is it?
Beermate. So literally, as it's
Beermate.
Yeah, Beermate. Beer as in alcohol, beer. And
Beermate.
Beermate.
No, Beermate.
Beermate. Oh.
Beermate.
Well, if you could speak English, that would help us out. Okay, so go ahead with the Beermate.
Okay, so what they've done, which I think was absolute genius, and they've just been refunded here, and they want to go ASAP into the US. So anybody who can get behind this is going to make a fortune. But they've actually developed self-catering beer vending machines for festivals. So you can actually have a beer event container, which you can have if you've got a club or you're just doing a small event, all self-contained. So you take this thing wherever you go. They've got an indoor one for larger events on wheels, which you can just roll in, and this is a complete vending machine. And they've got a big integrated ones, which is a bit like an ATM, really. So if you have a permanent place within, festival hall or a sports ground or whatever, you can actually have these integrated, fit in the wall ATM-like beer, self-service beer vending machines.
It's like the old, you remember the cigarette vending machines, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Only this one gives you liquid gold as opposed to
smoky gold.
Smoky gold, yeah. So,
those weren't too weird. Those were like almost normal stuff this time, David.
Yeah.
It was all about like the fun
I've been reading all the thousands of comments that we get.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
Excuse me.
Millions.
And people say, why can't you be more serious on this show? So I thought, well,
don't do that. Yeah,
you're calling for the death of the bartender, though.
Oh God, here we go.
Yes and no, actually, Michael. Because the thing, if you can imagine, like if you have this at a festival, you literally would take it there in a container. It's all self-contained. People just have via their app or wherever they can get their drink out of it. No person comes anywhere near it.
How about send them to the poorhouse?
No, that's the vanilla, but it's
oh my God.
Yeah, well, they've had the monopoly for so many years.
Here's to the next year. Yeah, here's to the next year.
It'll be all potatoes for them.
Yeah,
vanilla. As people have been trying to grow this stuff outside of Mauritius for centuries, and they haven't been successful. So this guy's like struck gold, the Dutch guy. Yeah.
Remember what happened to the Netherlands at the death of the tulip, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the dikes, all those people put their fingers in the dikes. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. It was in all the.
Well, it was interesting, I think, because just as the very last thing about that, it was very interesting because Dutch labor is the labor costs here are really high, and a lot of the greenhouses are all super high tech. Right. And this one particular guy who's been growing this vanilla, he said, "Well, why do we have all this technology, and all this cost to produce cucumbers and flowers and tomatoes, which basically anybody could grow. And why should we not dedicate all of this expensive green technology into producing very, very costly and
interesting
a product with lots of profit on it? So there you go.
Well, with that, we're leaving. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening and watching. If you like the show, subscribe, leave your comments. We say it every week, but it does help the show out. It makes these guys feel good to know that you love them. Not really. But anyway, subscribe and like. Don't forget, you can see Bindicoot live on our live feed. And other than that, we'll be back next Saturday morning with God knows what topics. And Sam Altman, if you're out there, remember, come and be a guest on our show. Because John thinks you don't have the balls to be a guest on our show. He's texting me privately and goes, Sam doesn't have the guts or the balls to be on our show.
But
no members.
No members.
Yes, Sam, you may have to wait because I think Elon's coming on first.
Yeah, and then also Michael Collins is coming back. So these are more important people than your make-believe thing. Anyway, everybody, don't forget to subscribe and like. Thank you for hanging out with us for this hour and our goofiness, and we will see you all next week. Thank you. David, take us home.